Hey guys, John Lee Dumas here, founder and host of EO Fire, and you're listening to Bravepreneur Parents Academy with ldquo.
Welcome to Bravepreneur Parents Academy, where the world's most inspiring entrepreneurs reveal their most defining childhood moments and share their legacy for raising brave little heroes who will grow up to change the world. And now, he still reads comic books under the blanket at bedtime. Please welcome your host, best-selling author, award-winning speaker, and self-confessed geek dad, ldquo. You know, like the hotel in Vegas? Yeah, no, that's really his name. ldquo.
We got a treat. We're talking to Alex Changho, the founder of Revolution, the business consulting group that helps business owners, coaches, and consultants get more out of their business. He's the best-selling author for the Bullyproof book series. He's an expert on leadership development, and today we're going to be talking to him about the connection between martial arts and bully-proofing your kids. Without further ado, Alex Changho, welcome.
Hey, Balaji.
How's it going, man? This is a big pleasure to get to talk to you. Alex and I have been colleagues and friends for a few months now. We actually got to have lunch at this brilliant place a couple of days ago, and I'm very excited to be able to share Alex's experiences with you guys today. Now, Alex, tell us a little bit about your childhood. We want to go back. We're going to take you back first and talk about young Alex. So I understand you got into martial arts early.
Yeah, it was relatively early. I know a lot of people, they start off like as teenagers or adults. I actually, I started off when I was 10. I was in the 5th grade, halfway through 5th grade. And in fact, my dad always wanted me to do martial arts, but I honestly had no interest, even from the 1st grade. He actually had to make me do it.
Interesting. And did you eventually take to it? What was that like?
Well, the truth is sometimes, just like any parent might need to do, you got to force your kids to do something sometime, you know, and the funny thing is there's a few things my parents actually made me do. A little example. I have 3 older sisters, and they can all play music. They can play the cello, they can play the violin, they can play the piano. Well, they never made me do that. All my sisters, they forced to do music, but they never made me do it. So guess what? I've done Guitar Hero, and that's about the closest I've gotten to any kind of music. But you know, my dad made me do martial arts. He made me try it at least. And I know that if I really hated it, he probably wouldn't make me continue. But after the first class, I was really hooked, actually. I felt like I could do stuff. I learned. It was really basic. It was like a couple of moves and like a kick, and that was it. But I stuck with it and made my black belt about a year and a half later. I went like every single day. So I got I actually was pretty good. And here we are now. What is that? Back in 92, so that's 23 and a half years later, almost 24 years ago.
Right. Amazing. So you were a reluctant warrior, but you ended up getting your black belt super quickly.
That's right.
And it sounds like you ended up actually pursuing a career in martial arts. You've been training kids and adults to do the same things you did.
Yes.
What was that transition like? How did you become a professional in the business?
Well, it was almost like a natural thing. You know, I loved it so much, and even when I was a kid, I was probably like 11, and I was actually showing up every day. And so if they needed help, I'm like, sure, I'd love to help. So that was really cool. And eventually that just transitioned. Instead of just helping, why don't you come and why don't you do a little bit more? Why don't you help warm up the class? So I started warming up the class. And then why don't you teach these couple kids, help these new kids. So I started doing that, and it just kind of evolved to the point when I was about 16 years old, and I could pretty much run the classes. I couldn't run the business, but I could run the classes. And then I got to age 18. I'd moved away for a while. I came back during the summers, and that's what I did during the summer times. I ran the karate school, And when I came back to North Carolina for college, it's what I wanted to do. So I was actually running a school almost essentially full time while I was in college.
Wow.
And then after college, I'd entered college thinking, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to get my degree and do whatever it is I was going to do. But I said, you know what, this is what I want to do. I'm impacting people, I'm making a difference. And so I invested with my instructor, and actually it was about 10 days before my college graduation that I actually opened my first school, or the first school that I owned. So that was
Look
that
at
was
that.
cool.
Wow. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So from the reluctant warrior to becoming the young phenom teaching other people at age 16.
That's right.
And from there, you actually started your own dojo. Now, I understand that since then, you've been teaching other people how to grow successful martial arts businesses. How did you turn that into a business?
Well, one of the things, Balaji, that was always really important to me was teaching and helping people. Some people, and there's a lot of really great mentors in the martial arts industry that that'll say, well, running the business is like the best part, and I totally respect that. That's what they do. It wasn't me. I love to teach, and I love to help, and I love to market, and I love to sell. I loved every part of that, but I just knew somewhere inside of me that there was even more, that it was even more that I wanted to do. I can help people at a deeper level, which has actually really come to play in the past few years. But I love helping people help others, because I can help a lot of people. But by me helping and mentoring other people to help other people, I can multiply the effect. So let's say, and this is just kind of what I think. I think I can have a really, really awesome, deep impact, not just a impact, but a deep impact on maybe 200 people, 200 karate students, right? Well, that's great, but it's 200 people. Well, what if I could take that and I could help 200 people have a deep impact on 200 people? It grows exponentially. And so I don't believe that I can help, look, I'm Asian, so I'm not that great at math. So whatever 200 times 200 is, like 40,000 people or whatnot. I don't believe I can personally have a deep impact on them, but I can help 200 people, help each of them have a great impact on 200. So that's what my goal is. So I work with people through leadership and developing them as leaders, so they can go and they can help other people. I mean, what they call as the measuring stick of a great leader. It's not just someone who leads other people, but it's someone who can develop other leaders too.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about how you developed those leadership skills in your childhood. Let's go back. We're going to put you through the lightning round right now.
Okay.
Alex, if you're ready for it. So we're going back to the childhood. And when you're ready, let's jump right in.
Let's do it.
Okay. Number one, favorite superhero.
My favorite superhero, I don't know if you call him a superhero, but it was Luke Skywalker.
Oh, Luke Skywalker.
Do I have to
Good
talk
answer.
fast during the lightning round, or how does that work?
You got to go fast.
Okay.
Favorite cartoon TV show?
I got to say, I really loved watching the Ninja Turtles. I could watch them every single day because they were on every single day.
Good answer. What about favorite video game?
Bar none, it was Zelda. All the different Zelda video games. Like they had a bunch of them.
Play those. That's good. What about a favorite family tradition, Alex?
One of my favorite family things that we still do now is just getting together on like holidays and doing nothing but hanging out. And I'm Filipino, so we eat a lot. And sometimes we'll just eat, and we'll eat like all day. So hanging out with my family is eating.
That's beautiful. What motivated you as a child?
I wanted to get good grades and make my parents proud.
Wow. What was a most embarrassing moment for you as a child?
This is really getting big, isn't it? All right, I think I can think of one. So I was growing up as a pretty, I was the fourth of four kids. When I was like in the first grade, or maybe even, no, it was definitely in the first grade. I had to go to the bathroom, right?
Uh-oh.
And I didn't know like what a urinal was or anything like that.
Uh-oh.
So I'm looking at these things. So what do? I just do my normal thing that I did when I was a little kid. I just pulled down my pants.
No.
And I was by myself. And then like some kids walk in and there I am like showing my butt. And I didn't know any different. And I'm like, why are they walking in here? And they started laughing and stuff. And I had like, you know, superhero underwear. I think I had like, you know, Batman or whatever it was. And
That's
they were like
respectable.
laughing at me. And I was like, oh my gosh, man, this is really getting like open, like exposure stuff. I didn't know we were going to be doing this, Balaji.
That's classic. Batman underwear, guys. You know what to send Alex for Christmas.
Oh boy.
What about your parents' parenting style? What was their style? What were they like?
I'm not sure how to answer that. Both my parents worked, but my grandmother lived with us
Ah.
when I was a young kid.
Mm-hmm.
She did a lot of that.
Mm.
It was pretty much, again, I'm the fourth of four kids, so
Yeah.
they didn't have to be super strict with me.
Mm.
I kind of got away with a lot of stuff, but then I also wasn't stupid or anything. I wasn't a huge risk taker when I was a child, so no big deal, right?
So it sounds like you had a pretty fun childhood, but what was one maybe big struggle that you went through, particularly maybe in those preteen years, whether it was bullying or peer pressure, or what was one of those kind of defining moments that you still remember today?
I grew up in Kansas City. And in Kansas City where I live, particularly in the town of Leawood, like at my whole school, I went to a school called Corinth, and there were like 4 Asian kids. There were 4 Asian kids, there were 2 black kids, and everyone else was white.
Mm.
I think there was like 1 Hispanic person. And even though I wasn't even dealing at that time when I was young with bullying, or no one really treated me different, but I felt different because I was. Like there was no like racism or whatever, but I knew I was different. And you know, in fact, when I was young, I spoke Chinese, and then my teacher found that out and thought it was really cool, as as they should. And then they're like, "Wow, Alex speaks Chinese." And then all the other kids are like, "Alex, say something in Chinese." And I got super embarrassed. I was like, "No, I'm not going to say anything." I didn't want people to know that.
Yeah.
I didn't want people to know that I was different.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the black hair and the squinty eyes like was giving it away or anything, but I just wanted to be the same as everyone else. And that was a struggle. Even when I moved to North Carolina in the 4th grade, it was there we were older, so there's a little more, you know, bullying, perhaps you could call it that. But I think it was more like teasing. But I always felt different.
And
I didn't have great self-esteem.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I just didn't have great self-esteem, so it was difficult for me.
Yeah, I was kind of going to ask how that impacted your identity, your self-image.
I didn't have very good self-esteem for a long time. I just, you know, for one thing, being a boy, a lot of kids were, you know, for boys, sports is really important, and I was never really great at sports. I played soccer when I was a kid, like 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, but then it was just more of a social thing, and like everyone just got together, and everyone in the class was doing it, and so it was fun. And they were really, you know, my team wasn't a really competitive team. In fact, it was, you know, I remember one day we played they called them a hand-picked team. That's where you actually had to try out and stuff. And we got slaughtered. And even the coaches were joking about it. They're just like, hey, you know, this is a hand-picked team. So, and for us, we just have everyone that wants to do it.
Yeah.
And it was just a different level. But, you know, not being so great at sports and when that kind of thing starts to become more important for popularity and whatnot, I just wasn't fitting in. So it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah, that's a challenge that a lot of kids seem to go through around that age, where we all have something we're insecure about or that we feel different about. Did you, Alex, find something that helped you overcome that in later years, whether it was martial arts or something else entirely?
You know what? It really was martial arts. That's what it was. I started taking martial arts halfway through the 5th grade. I made my black belt, and I'm not going to be like one of these people that says, I took it for 2 weeks and it changed my life forever. That's totally not true. I took it. I made my black belt. I was pretty proud. In fact, I remember I was so proud that it was like the very first time I admitted that I did martial arts. I was in the 7th grade, and they had us fill out like this little paper. And on the back, I'm just going to take this paper. And on the back of the paper, on the front of the paper, you would write like you drew things that you were like proud of. And one of them, I drew a black belt, and I said, I just made my black belt. And that's like the very first time I admitted to like anyone. I didn't want people to know I did martial arts.
Wow.
Because, they're going to do, that kind of thing. Like do something. For me, I look like Bruce Lee, So every time like people would bring that up, I just downplay it. I didn't want people to know. And it wasn't because I wasn't proud. It was because I thought that people were going to like mess with me. I thought it was people were going to tease me about it. And it took time, Balaji. It took years. Building up confidence takes a long time. It's not something that happens right away. It takes conditioning. I went for, twice a week or 3 times a week or however many times I went for years. And it happened as a process that I became more confident over time. But if I hadn't done martial arts and I weren't in that environment, I wouldn't be the handsome, dashing, charming guy that I am today.
Of course. And it had nothing to do with the Batman underwear at all.
Had nothing to do with the Batman underwear.
So, Alex, for parents of young kids right now, I have 2 sons, for example.
Yep.
They are ages 5 and 8. My older son did karate probably for about 6 months.
That's cool.
Yeah, he did enjoy it, and he'd actually like to go back. Right now, he's super into soccer, and he's also playing piano, so he's very much got a full schedule.
Yeah.
But I've always, even though I've never taken martial arts before, I've always been a big fan and a proponent of the discipline and the consistency that martial arts seem to teach kids and adults. A lot of parents, especially parents of maybe introverted kids or parents of smaller kids or parents of kids who are different in some obvious way, might have concerns about those kids being bullied, and they might consider martial arts as a solution to that. Could you talk a little bit about the psychology behind parents sending their kids to martial arts? What are the right reasons for sending your kids to martial arts, maybe the wrong reasons, and what can martial arts really do to help a young child?
Well, I think I have this thing about right and wrong. I don't consider anything right and wrong. I just ask, does it work or not? Some people look at martial arts today and they're looking for an activity, and that's totally cool. That's absolutely fine. But of course, if you treat something like that, and I'm not saying that it might not start off that way, but if you treat something like an activity, then expect activity results from it. It's just like, well, if I have a hobby, let's say one of my hobbies is, I don't know, like knitting. Yeah. Knit, but I'm just making that up, right? If one of my hobbies is knitting, but I don't put in the time, effort, energy, the investment of time, money, training, all that cool stuff, I can't expect to be like a really, really awesome knitter. Mm-hmm. Well, it's the same thing with anything else. If someone looks at martial arts and they like it, and maybe they tried it and they liked it, and they're like, you know what? I'd like to take this more seriously, then invest into it. Invest into it. If you have an outcome that you find, maybe you're not going to jump right in with, both feet right into the deep end of the pool, but maybe you're going to try out the water, but you find out, this is really cool, then go for it. And that's not just for martial arts, but for anything. Like, Balaji, your kids do soccer.
Right.
Frickin' do soccer. If you find that your kids love soccer and they're getting something from it, then invest in it. Put time, effort, energy. Make time, effort, and energy. I think I know parents, and I've worked with parents over the past, since I was 16, so let's call it almost 20 years, and I've seen a difference in the way that parents raise their kids. And sometimes it's like this, it's almost like we need to find something for my kid to do. It's like if they can't be sitting at home, which is totally not true. No, you and I bet we spend a lot of time sitting at home doing nothing but playing or reading or hanging out or doing something that's not necessarily structured. I know parents are like, well, okay, at 4 o'clock we got to do this, and 5 o'clock we got this, 6 o'clock we got to do this, and we have so many activities. And they're like, no, well, we can't do taekwondo, we can't do karate because you got 18 different activities to do. It's like, dang, why don't you just pick something that your kid's really getting something from? So I think sometimes, you know, going back to your original question, what are some of the right or wrong reasons? It depends. You know, if you're just looking to try something out, go to the rec center and expect that. But also don't expect really, really awesome results from a rec center program necessarily. Not to say that they're not great. I know, you know, I've got clients that run out of a rec center that are awesome. But you just got to understand, you know, in fact, it's not just the program, but how do you as the parent treat the program? And that's as important, if not more, than the program itself.
Wow.
It's the way that you show up. You know, if I show up for, let's just say I'm going to the dentist, right?
Yeah.
And I don't treat going to the dentist with much respect. I don't schedule my cleanings. I don't brush my teeth. The dentist can only do so much.
That's true.
But if I show up, they tell me to floss. Guess what? I'm going to floss. They tell me to brush my teeth. They tell me to do this. They do that. As much as they do for me and as much money as I may pay them, I'm not paying to go to the freaking dentist and spend an hour there. I want great teeth.
Right.
I want healthy teeth.
Right.
And so much of that is on me.
Fascinating.
So a parent can take responsibility for themselves and for their kids and teach their kids to take responsibility for it. And, you know, if something isn't that important to them, then it's not that important to them. Okay. Help them find something. That's when it's time to go try a bunch of things. But when something's important to a kid, something's important to you, then make the time to do it and invest. Not everyone's, you know, I know some people say martial arts is right for everyone. I think everyone can do it, but it's not right for everyone. I don't believe that. I think you need to find out whatever is going to be the best thing for you,
right? And
run with it. And there's lots and lots of different things, but a lot of it's just up here, Balaji. It's how does the individual person, the child, the parent, and of course the parent is responsible for the child. How can you serve your child the best, serve and support your child the best way that you can by helping them to invest and commit to whatever it is that they're going to do? If it's martial arts, if it's soccer, if it's baseball, if it's football, if it's something. I think nothing is not acceptable. So help them find something and be like my dad. Force them to try something. And the moment it gets tough, don't stop.
Yeah.
That's when people grow.
Right.
And that's true leadership.
Right. That sounds like it could pertain not just to kids, but to adults as well,
yeah.
particularly entrepreneurs. Yeah. Now, Alex, you co-authored the best-selling book, Bullyproof.
Yeah.
That came out recently, and there's going to be a book tour for it. It's done extremely well. So congratulations on that.
Thanks, Balaji.
I wonder, Alex, if you could share maybe 2 or 3 tips with parents, and I think one of the ones that you've just talked about sounds like a tip, help them to find an activity that they're proud of and that they enjoy and that they can build a skill at. But what are a couple other things parents can do, Alex, to bully-proof their children?
Well, number one, and this is my my perspective, ultimately, the solution to bullying is to empower the child. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't try to stop bullying or try to reduce it or whatever. I mean, we can totally try to do that, and I think it's good. Right now, there's a movement out there by a beautiful, beautiful young lady, beautiful soul, who was called. She was the subject of cyberbullying, who was called the ugliest woman on the world. And it's on the date of this, we're actually talking on October 2nd. Well, they've been a big movement out because October is National Bully Prevention Month. And they're trying to get some laws passed against bullying I haven't actually spent the time to actually look into all of that, so I can't really comment. But here's what I do know: a law isn't going to stop anything. I mean, there's lots of laws out there. There's laws against drugs. There's laws against, against hurting people. There's laws against doing things, and laws don't stop things. They do deter, and I think they're wonderful to have those things. But ultimately, and they may lead to a change. A lot of them do. But ultimately, it comes down to this: how can we raise our kids, and how can we build up their confidence so that they're bully-proof? Being bully-proof requires one thing. It requires self-confidence. Well, they're all under the same thing, but it's really confidence. That can be self-worth. It can be self-esteem. It can be the way that you feel about yourself. All of this stuff about not having an ego and you shouldn't talk about your ego is total BS. You can have a healthy ego, and it's very, very good to have that. In fact, it's necessary. But to have all of these things, to feel great about who you are. Now, how do you get that? There's multiple paths.
Okay.
You can be encouraged. When your kid does something good, tell them. Now, I know there's that whole thing about, giving a trophy to everyone. There ain't, that kind of stuff has its place. There's people that, on Facebook and on Twitter and celebrities saying they're returning the trophies. That's nice. Thanks. You might have just devastated your child, or you might have just taught him a great lesson. It's our job to understand when that's appropriate and when it's not. Sometimes it's appropriate to give everyone an award, and sometimes it's not. There ain't nothing wrong with giving everyone an award as long as they do understand that, look, achievement comes through X, Y, and Z and hard work. And it's very, very easy to make things black and white, but there's so many times when it's not. So encouraging your kids in a healthy, authentic, true manner. How about this? We just be honest. That's the easiest thing. How about we be honest? The second thing is that they can do is get them involved in something that's going to challenge them. Confidence is built. Confidence doesn't happen. No one can make your kid confident. But confidence is built through overcoming challenges. So give them something that's a little bit of a challenge. Now, sometimes, when is it appropriate? Sometimes a little challenge is good, and sometimes a bigger challenge is good. And you can't have one blanket statement for both. You got to know when is the appropriate time. And it might be through different things. Martial arts is a great way because it's very progressive. If your kid likes martial arts, if they don't like martial arts, then it won't work. Sometimes it's about soccer. Sometimes about baseball. Sometimes about art or music. But find something for your kid that challenges them, that helps them to grow. I mean, that's why things like I don't have one here. That's why video games are so attractive to kids, because they grow.
Right.
Because they can go from level 2 to level 3 to level 4, and they can feel that level of achievement. Is it the healthiest feeling? I mean, the healthiest achievement? Maybe not. It's not the most constructive one. However, it is a feeling of progress, and that's what people like. It's one of the 6 human needs that we have that Tony Robbins teaches about.
Interesting perspective. That's very, very useful. So, Alex, what would you say is one amazing breakthrough that you've learned about coaching kids in all the years that you've been able to work with them? A lot of the stuff that you've talked about, building their confidence, giving them progressive challenges, helping them to find an activity that they're passionate about and can stick with. This is all really solid stuff. But do you have maybe one example of a young boy or girl that you've coached and helped through to a breakthrough?
I'm going to talk about a kid named Sammy. He's a child with autism. Not the most physically gifted kid in the whole world. And he came to me when he was maybe he was in the 3rd grade. And the biggest heart in the entire world. And the child, and I don't know how everyone listening to this how grades work, but here in where I live at the public schools, they use a scale that goes from 1 to 4.
Okay.
1 is like you're just not getting it. 2 is like poor. 3 is on track, and 4 is like doing outstanding. And this kid was averaging 1s and 2s, and again, not the most physically gifted kid in the whole world, socially pretty popular, but had a lot of trouble in school. And this child was not the best at martial arts at all. It wasn't, he wasn't winning, giant trophies, fighting against 15 million people. He came in and he was making progress, and the only bar he was compared against was his own, which is sometimes what people think. They like, well, why is that kid getting the same belt as this other kid? Because my kid did this, but he didn't. And it's like, what does this have to do with you? Well, it makes what my kid did less. I'm like, if you believe that, then you can totally believe that. If your self-worth is so little that you have to compare yourself to other people, then yes, totally believe that. Or maybe you can feel good about your own progress. This child made so much progress on his own that about a year later, he came in and his parents were just so proud. You could have no idea how proud they were. They brought in his report card, and he'd gotten all threes for the first time ever. He didn't have a 2. First time ever this kid got this. And that's one of those days I just know that this is why I help people. Because this child, who's now, gosh, he's got to be 16 now. This child, there was a difference made.
That's very cool. That's an amazing story. That's an amazing story. What's maybe the youngest age you've ever worked with?
The youngest kid I ever took was 2.5.
Wow.
Now, it's a very, very interesting story because she was with her older sisters and her parents too. Normally, really, I would say this, a really great age for anyone across the board generally is 4. I've worked with some 3-year-olds, but there's a big difference between 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. That's just what I found. So,
very interesting.
But yeah, 4 years old is awesome. Like 4-year-old kids can do a lot of stuff.
And they're willing to try a lot of stuff, I imagine.
Well, they can do things. They're old enough. They're old enough to be able to do stuff physically, but they're young enough not to have all the emotional baggage that we as grown-ups all have.
Interesting. This is good. Alex, as we close, is there a particular resource that you'd like to share with the parents, either pertaining to parenting or leadership development in their kids or martial arts? Is there any book or other resource that you'd love to share?
I mean, how can I not say read Bullyproof, right? I mean, it's my book. I say it's my book, but I mean, it's a series and it has contributors from all over the country. It is awesome. I mean, the first volume had 12 contributors, including me. The second volume's got another 12 that comes out October 15th. Volume 3 is in production right now, and we're looking to start applications for volume 4 in a few. But that's really great. Sometimes I don't know how at what place people are at to be able to recommend a book or whatnot. But here's what I would recommend. And this is a book is awesome, but again, a kid is not gonna be bully-proof by reading a book. They're gonna be bully-proof by experience. They're not gonna become confident because they read something. They might become inspired to take some action, but it's the action that's going to make the difference. So I would say this, go take your kid, and if you're interested in martial arts, interested in dance, or interested in any of that, go try something out. And here's the most important thing. Is there a connection between the teacher, the instructor, and your kid? Because this is something that one of my mentors, Kevin Nations, has really taught me, which is, people will come to you for what you can teach them, but they will stay with you for who you are. So you may have this really awesome, you may find a really awesome program in your town, but it doesn't matter how awesome the program is. If the instructors don't get along with your kids, if there's not a good fit, it doesn't matter. We built our civilization on relationships of people. And it doesn't matter what great program we have, what great funnel, what great website, any of that stuff. Ultimately, it comes down to people having a relationship. And if you can find someone that can have a great relationship to help your kid, that is a winning relationship. That is going to help your kid be confident and successful.
That's good stuff, Alex. That's good stuff. We've been talking to Alex Changho. He's the founder of Revolution, the business consulting group that helps business owners, coaches, and consultants get more out of their businesses. He's the best-selling author of the Bullyproof book series. We'll be linking to that. And he's an expert on leadership development. This has been a phenomenal conversation. Alex, thank you.
Hey, thank you, Balaji.
All right, folks, we will see you tomorrow on the next episode of Bravepreneur Parents Academy. Until then, you can get more information about Alex at alexchangho.com. That's Alex, CHANGHO.com. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Thanks for supporting my dad's show. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to iTunes. He said hot chocolate is for closers. If you don't subscribe, I don't get hot chocolate. I love hot chocolate.
Fear not. Although this chapter of Bravepreneur Parents Academy has come to its conclusion, we have many more adventures for you and your brave little heroes. Head over to bravequest.me for access to the Brave Quest Journal, an interactive activity playbook that rewards your little ones with points for accomplishing tasks that build character and unleash your child's inner superhero all before bedtime. We look forward to having you join us for more adventures next time on Bravepreneur Parents Academy.